This is M.F.K. Radio Music, Focus, Knowledge, the ingredients to a better day. It's your boy Jay Free. Make sure you tap in every week. We got a brand new episode of M.F.K. Radio where we highlight artists from around the world. And I don't just mean around the world. I mean from Japan to your mom's living room. Okay. And we're also highlighting businesses, local businesses, and businesses across the nation. So make sure you tap in every week. Check out the website, www.mfkradio.com. Today, I got my boy Serge in the house.
What's up?
Serge, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great today.
That's
Just
good.
got out of work. I'm feeling good now.
That's right. That's right. All right. So give the people a little bit about yourself, man. Let them know who you are before we jump into the craziness.
My name is Sergio, ghetto boy from Sinaloa, Culiacan, Sinaloa. Grew up in Hemet and did a lot of stuff in the meantime, but now I'm just trying to be a dad and trying to be a stand-up citizen.
All right. I like that. I like that. We're on the same boat. And I want to kind of talk about that a little bit because I think we know a lot of people who've made that transition, but there's a lot of people who are in the middle of that transition.
Yeah, I think it's important too. Like there's sometimes when you're younger and you meet those people that are in the transition or that are not yet, those are the people that help you become the person that you're going to be. You don't even know that those people
Right.
are helping you, you know, and maybe they never make that transition, but it's essential, you know, for
Yeah.
your
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think it's sometimes, right? I think there's a breaking point for everybody. And some people see it and some people don't, right? So it's from person to person. So for you, when do you feel like you had that breaking point when you were like, you know what, I gotta cut this shit out. I gotta get right. Was it when you had your kid, or was it a different situation for you?
I think it's also important, like, to know that some people do see that breaking point, but they don't have the strength to actually make that switch, you know?
Ooh, elaborate on that. What do you
So,
mean by that?
like, there's some people you meet that, like, you know, they're sick of that shit. You know, they're sick of that bullshit life, but they still don't make that turn. They think maybe it's too late for them, or they're just a product of their environment, and they think it's just okay to be that way, even though you see that they're sick of that shit. And when you're young, you could either be like, all right, like, do I want to be that person that's not going to make the turn? Or do
Right.
I see somebody else's mistakes? And, you know, I see that they want to be a better person, but they don't. And you see that they're a good person. You see that bullshit they're doing. And to
Right.
you, it's fun because you're young and it's funny or whatever. It's a fun time. But when you get to that point, when I get to that age, am I going to be that person that still sees that it's wrong and still not making a change, or am I gonna actually
Right.
make that fucking change? You
Right.
know, like,
Have you ever heard of the paradoxical theory of change?
no.
All right. The paradoxical theory of change says no matter the exterior force on a person, they will not change until they're interiorly ready. So they have to be ready mentally, emotionally, all of that for them to be able to make that transition. So to your point,
Yeah.
it sometimes being ready is being able to identify that situation, I think.
Yeah. So even if you know that you're wrong,
doesn't
it's just,
matter.
yeah,
If you're not ready, you're not ready.
I get
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
So-
We watch people die over that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I didn't want to get into that early, but that's kind of what changed in my head was my friend dying and having to be murdered over that bullshit. And all I saw from him was good times and, you know,
Right.
fun and all this shit, even though he was in not so fun environments.
Right.
And he put himself there, like, you know, like he put himself into those environments.
So you feel like that was the pinnacle point for you?
No,
was he
it's just
losing life?
it's something that kind of got put into my head, and I didn't really, like you said, I wasn't ready to accept that change until later. But now I see that was something kind of stored in my head that now that I think back on it, like I have that experience and
Right.
I can learn from it, but I wasn't ready to learn from it when it happened. You know,
Mm,
when
yeah,
it happened,
yeah.
I wasn't ready to learn from it. But I mean, now that I think about it, now that I want to change, I have that experience in my, like, you know, locked up.
It
already.
allowed you to make that transition, right?
Exactly. And it's like, it's something that's like, all right, well, I already know what this bullshit leads to.
And was
Do I-
that before you had your son, or was that
that was way before I had my
Oh,
son.
alright.
Yeah. So I was still thinking, you know, everything was.
So were you half and half when you had your son still, or were you on the straight and narrow already?
I think my son's mother tried to, like, you know, changed
Snap
me
you
a
out
little.
of it.
Yeah, but I wasn't really having it, and I was kind of, if I'm being honest, faking it a little bit, trying to seem like I was a different person, knowing damn well in my head.
I get it.
Yeah, in my head, I'm like, no, I still want to wild out, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it took me actually having my son and me actually like having to be a father and
Right.
going through all that. I think the love you have for another human being really changes everything about you, you know. And a lot of people don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
I have friends that have kids and they still don't want to change. And I know they love their kids and I know they're good people, but they still don't want to make that change.
That's
So,
deep. That's
yeah.
deep. The love that you have for another person can make you change.
Yeah, because it's not even your kid, it's just another person, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't have
That's
to be your
true.
kid, but
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
for some of us, it has to take that extreme turn to it has to be like your blood. But it doesn't have to be. I don't think it has to be. It's
Right.
just for me, that's my personal experience that it was my son that, made that change for
Right,
me.
right. I
Even
think
though like people preach to me and my parents, try to tell me otherwise. And obviously I have my own experiences that tell me that's not the way to go or whatever it might be.
right.
Um, you have to do it like you said. You have to do it on your own, and
Right, right,
it
right.
has to some force has to draw you from that,
Yeah.
and you have to also choose to love somebody more than you love yourself.
Ooh,
Yeah. So
that's deep.
once you love somebody more than you love yourself,
That's
then it's
deep because we live in an era where, people can't love themselves, let alone love another person, right? And we live in a social media era of instant gratification and really like self-assassination. Like
yeah.
it's an interesting time we live in. So that perspective is that's deep.
I think it's an old school perspective as well.
How
Like
so?
it's
What do you mean by that? Elaborate, because how does philosophy or perspectives change from decade to decade? How do you what do you mean by that?
I think it's bad parenting or good parenting, and it's just whatever your parents instill into you. Over time, somebody can beat you like a drum over like certain things that you should do,
Right.
and even though you don't listen, over time, when you do choose to make that change to be like, I want to be a better person, you have all that stuff they have been telling me. Like I'll always till my fucking death will always praise my father.
Yeah, it
But
comes with age too, right? I think you know what I'm saying because
yeah,
now,
sometimes.
yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you got
It
some
takes
old motherfuckers out there still doing dumb shit, right?
yeah.
But I think, I mean, the older I get, the more I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
what mom
like
was talking about.
it takes a man to do that. I think that's what makes you a man is like to understand whether
Accountability.
yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like realizing everything that you know. Are you gonna put it into effect or not?
Right. Right.
You know right and wrong. Once you know right and wrong, it's up to you to apply it.
Yeah.
There's some people that don't,
Yeah.
and some people live oblivious and they don't know right and wrong.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of it it derives from your morality, right? Your integrity and the morality that you were raised with. Because I mean, I've known families that, even the grandma's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
serious,
Yeah.
and you know that and then you see the kids and you're like, man, this
But
kid's
that's what I was telling you is like the way that I say that, like the old school teachings is like what you pass down to your
right,
peoples. What I'm getting passed down is from my dad. He didn't come up with that shit from himself. Like he
right, right,
probably
right,
was
right,
told by somebody else. Maybe he listened, maybe he didn't.
right.
I don't know what time he listened or what age he listened, but he's passing it down to me, and that's the same shit I'm gonna try to do with my son and try to learn more shit to where I'm not just passing down my dad's knowledge. I'm learning.
Shit you've learned. Well, I mean, you've had
Exactly.
different experiences than your pop too, right?
Exactly, but
So
it's still like the principle I think is still the
I
same.
see it.
The principle is still the
The
same.
morals and the integrity that you carry with
Exactly. It's
yourself,
just like different experiences and then like how you want to perceive that and how you want to show your son or your whoever you're trying to.
And I think it's important to never compromise your integrity for anything.
Well, yeah, it's
'Cause
just hard.
oh yeah, I
It's
mean,
hard. And especially now like with new like shit changes
well, they incentivize you, they monetize you giving up your integrity.
Yeah, and it's easy now
Yeah.
because we have so much social media and shit like that, like it's very easy for you to just be a piece of shit because a lot of stuff you do probably nobody will know, like there's some people that are just pieces of shit online and then they don't face the consequences.
Yeah.
Which is great when it comes to what we do, which is punch each other in the face
Right.
every Friday.
Which we can tap into that a little bit right now.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how important. Well, for me, if you know me on a personal level, you know how important martial arts are to me.
Yeah.
Specifically Muay Thai, and how important it is to you too.
Yeah.
So we can kind of get into that right now. What first off, shout out to Black Flag Kickboxing, Hammond, California. We see you. What drove you to martial arts or Muay Thai specifically?
I've always been drawn to violence, even though that sounds wrong, but
yeah,
it's like,
I get it. I get it.
Let me elaborate. It's not like just violence. It's just like I feel like everybody has some kind of violence in them, and it's just getting it out in a healthy way. And at the end of the day, like I was saying, like everybody just feels so comfortable with saying so much stupid shit. Nobody gets punched in the face no more,
I know. That's crazy.
Nobody knows the consequence of like actually getting punched in the face. I feel like a lot of people, it might be controversial, but a lot of people need to get punched in the face so they can get humbled down a little bit, like I'm not the big bad dog, like I'm not like
I get
I'm
it.
not untouchable,
to your earlier point though, that's old school, right? Like before it was you're gonna squabble up.
Well, yeah, because before there was no social media. If you're saying something bad about somebody, it's gonna get to them.
You're gonna get fucked up. They're gonna find you eventually. They're gonna run into you at the food for less and beat your ass.
I think there was like, there's some like gray area now where it's like some people get to just get away with saying stuff. And
you be the tough guy online.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy, or not even online, but like just be the tough guy in the moment and then just get away.
I see that a lot with I won't say no names, but I see a lot of these podcasters, they do that. They jump online and they start talking shit about each other. And it's within our own communities too. And then one dude talks about another guy, and then
it's very easy to just meet somebody up. I mean,
get it off your chest.
I mean,
if you really like that, I'm saying
I've been in my fair share of street fights, but it's not like I'm going.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going for street fights, but if you really would have to like,
Well, and I feel like the more you know how to fight, the more disciplined you are too. Though, so you ain't just walking around trying to be a tough guy.
Yeah, but I mean, like sometimes some shit just happens.
Oh no, yeah, no, and then you're ready, for it at that point.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you really nowadays, especially I think with social media, it's very easy for you to just punch in the gym, and then if you really feel that way, go find out if you can actually do what you say you're gonna do.
Right.
And then you find out you can't, and then you either want to learn to do it better, or you can just be like, oh no, what I hear now is like, oh, it's fake fighting, or it's in with gloves or whatever.
A controlled environment.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, if you can't do
that controlled environment, buddy, I dare you.
Exactly.
I fucking dare you.
It's very easy to just say that you're gonna beat somebody up, and then it's like, okay, if there's a more, I guess, like you said, a controlled way to do it, then just fucking do it. So many people like on the street want to just talk all that talk, and then it's just like, all right, well, there's a very easy solution. You could punch in your nearest gym. You could either go and try to see if you can actually test your skills, or shit, I would be down if somebody has a problem with me, just come down to the gym, sign a waiver, and
knuckle up.
Yeah. And then what do we do after we fucking spar?
Shake hands, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you win or lose, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw, baby.
Yeah. Well, important too. There is no win or lose when you're sparring. It's just
that's true. It's learning, right?
Just letting your fucking anger out. You get some punches on me, I get some punches on you, and you're good. But you let that anger out. I feel like
if you don't do it, you won't understand that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
because
but I feel like everybody should at least try.
No, I agree with
you. Have you seen like the girls? I think it's important.
They're the most aggressive in any gym.
The girls that come in, it's just like they're so feminine, so they don't have nothing to prove.
Right.
So they're just like, their biggest thing is they don't want to get hit, and once they get over that little obstacle, they're the most fucking aggressive ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the most violent ones.
They're the most aggressive ones.
Anybody and any motherfucking stand up, and not even, I'm sure it happens in jiu-jitsu too, right? Like in any
combat sport. No, but I'm sure
in any combat sport, I feel like they can vouch for that the women
Yeah.
are
I think it's because
very aggressive.
they have less ego than us. They don't have
Oh,
nothing.
that's for sure.
They don't have nothing to lose. Like they're not gonna like.
At all. So
They're
they
not gonna go home and be like, oh, like so and so beat me up.
right. They
They're just happy to be there,
and
dog.
they
Like, they're just happy to like take a shot and like be like, oh, I got over the fear of getting hit,
yeah,
by another girl. Like
yeah.
they're not sitting there like going fucking shot for shot like how we are. Like they're like
There's something about getting punched in the face and then you just being
it
able to
shocks. Well, I mean, we're humans,
right,
it shocks your nervous system. It
right.
does.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not supposed to get hit in the face. Your
No.
body like automatically wants to get the fuck away.
Right.
You have to train your body to like stand there and like not shy away from it, because if you do,
Right.
you're gonna get hit again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're gonna get hit again, and you're gonna get hit again and again and again and again. So
But tell me that's not a life lesson though.
it is.
Like
But
in one.
are you same shit we were talking about earlier? Are you gonna take that lesson, or are you just gonna be a fucking hardhead and be like,
it ties in, right?
yeah. So are you gonna be like, oh no, I got hit 3, 4, 4, 5 times. I'm a bitch. No, you're not. Like,
Yeah, right.
you just need to fix your stance. Like
That's
it's
it.
simple.
Put your
Like,
hands up.
perfect.
Right.
That's what I should have done yesterday.
We won't say no names. But
Hey,
yeah, I
man.
think that life it's very similar to that, right? It's little adjustments that we can make
Yeah, it's
that
not, it's
allow
not
us
impossible.
that allow us to learn and get better.
But the biggest, I think, well, now that you're changing it to life, like you're gonna get hit no matter what,
Yeah.
and you're not made of glass. You're
Right.
gonna get hit, and it's okay.
Right.
You're gonna get over it. It's fine. I mean,
I
not always. You might get knocked
Right.
out. That is that possibility.
but even
most
then,
of the time,
but even then in life you could get knocked out.
yeah, completely.
Hard. You know what I'm saying?
And you're still gonna get back up.
you got to get back up, but there's no
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
You know, it's either that or die. And you know, if you don't have the will to live, I mean, your life has to be a struggle as a whole. But you know, I had the other day I had somebody ask me, you know, because my youngest son, obviously, you know, he trains also,
Aaron,
and they
shout
told
out.
me, yeah, and they, you know, they were like, oh my god, I can't believe that you let your kid do that.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
why not?
why not?
I've seen your son cry
Yeah,
after getting hit.
and
that little fucker, he doesn't sit there and be like, "Oh, I hate this shit." Throw his gloves off and walk off. No,
he
he's
fights
still
through
there.
it.
He's still
He fights through it. And if that's not a fucking life lesson for him, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
And he's 8.
Exactly.
So think about it. Think about the conditioning
Yeah.
that he's getting in his mind, understanding that it's okay to be frustrated
and
get
for me, when I seen him, we're, obviously the adults,
right.
we're sitting there doing the same shit he's doing. For him, it's like he's crying and he's looking at us like, "Oh, you guys aren't crying." Like he kind of expects us to like look down on him. Fuck no.
No.
Hell no.
No,
I
I
told him, was
admire
like,
that.
Me too. That's what I told him. I was like, it's perfectly fine. That's your
Mhm.
body like doing what it does, whatever. But you're still here. You still fought the willpower. You still fought your body's urge to like, oh no, this is a dangerous
I
situation.
don't want to do it. Yeah.
Your body is telling you that it doesn't want to, and you're still fighting it, and you're still here,
Right.
and you're still choosing to be here. Like that's powerful, for a fucking 8-year-old.
Right.
Dog.
Right.
I didn't do this shit when I was 8.
Me
So
neither.
like, to me, I'm like, you're, if anything, braver than fucking any of us.
Yeah. Or you just
If I cried, I'd be fucking out that bitch.
yeah. Yeah. We'd make sure of it. No, I'm fucking with you. But
no, I fucking love that kid, dude. That was
he,
was
you know,
great.
it's different.
And then the funny part was that he didn't do bad.
No.
He did fucking good,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. It's just he's an emotional person. Period. Like that's just kind of how he communicates his frustration.
but that's not I think like people think that's a weakness.
It's a weakness.
not.
No, it's not, because you get the average 8-year-old and put him in front of him, he's gonna beat the fuck out of them, right? Physically he's more cultured because he does it every day.
Yeah.
6 days a week. But he's just an emotion. That's how he communicates his frustration. And the fact that he can work through that, I mean, that's a fucking life lesson. He's gonna get frustrated as an adult one day.
For me,
he's gonna learn he's gonna know how to work through it.
For me as a father too, seeing that it's bro, like for
it's
me,
hard.
Yeah, of course.
It's hard.
But for me, seeing that as a father, I'm like, bro, like that is more empowering than anything. I don't want to see my son being in a bad situation, but seeing him fight through it would make me the proudest fucking
It is.
father
It's
ever.
it's one of the best moments. I can't even
because
explain.
you can't stop the world from hurting your
No,
son.
no, you can't. All you can do is prepare them.
We're in a controlled environment where it's fucking, controlled fighting.
Yeah,
And if that gets them down, then you can still control that. But that's just one aspect of life.
yeah.
They're gonna go through so much worse.
So you gotta let it play out.
So the fact that he dealt with what he dealt with there makes him be prepared for the actual world. So if my son can be half of what the fuck your son did that day, I'd be one proud
And he will,
motherfucker.
and he will, because I mean, again, we're passing down that legacy, right? We're making sure
Hopefully,
that
yeah.
they, and again, it's not to say that it's just combat sports. I don't mean that at all. I mean that in general.
That's
Like,
just what we know.
that's just what we know, exactly. So we're relating it to something that we know.
Yeah.
But there's people who do whatever the fuck you do, right? But you know how to work through those situations. That's empowering.
Exactly.
That's gonna culture you.
No matter what age you're doing it
It
at.
doesn't matter.
Exactly. A person's attributions sorry.
Attributes.
Yeah.
You got it.
Attributions. Is that a word? English is
I don't
my
think
second
so.
language. I don't know.
I don't know if it ain't. You just made it up, dog. It's all good.
I
Don't worry
think that's
about
a
it.
word. Anyway, a person's will to go through stuff is
Yeah.
it's not like there's no age limit for it,
No.
You can learn shit at any age of your life.
I got into Muay Thai in my 30s.
Like you said earlier, there's older people now that still don't want to learn anything,
At all.
You can learn some shit when you're 8, you can learn some shit when you're fucking 65.
Yeah. 100%.
That whole fucking old dog can't learn new tricks.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And I want to give a big shout out to Rob. I see you, Rob.
Santa Fe Rob.
Yeah, 58 years old.
I saw him yesterday.
And you're in there, banging it out with guys who are half your age.
Bro, I showed up to the gym yesterday. I showed up early at 7:50. The sparring starts at 8.
Right.
Showed up at 7:50. This motherfucker was already bald head sweating. Fucking already 9 rounds in on shadow boxing, already warmed up.
Yeah, and I won't speak on his history, right? If he's not around, but he's already a little conditioned.
Yeah.
From his personal experiences.
You don't have to say nothing once you see him.
Right. You know already. Yeah. But still though, to be in there and be able to get, to work the way he does on a daily basis. And then you see dudes that are, my age even, or a little older than me.
Fool, you act like you're so old.
I'm just saying, I'm an old motherfucker. Nah, but
you're only as old as you think.
That's true. But I mean, even early 40s, you know what I'm saying? Like people I grew up with, and I see that we're the same age, and I'm like, damn, this motherfucker's cooked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and then you see people like that,
and you're like,
I'm
man,
saying,
what's your excuse, bro?
I'm walking in at 7:50 thinking I'm fucking tired and shit like that, and this motherfucker's already warm. He's already warmed up.
Yeah,
he's already sweating.
Yeah,
waiting for us, and I'm like, goddamn.
I mean, that's discipline, though, right? I mean,
it's not even discipline. It's like,
so?
Maybe. But it's more like a state of mind. Like, no matter what the fuck you're gonna do it to the best of your ability.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Mike Tyson is one of the best quotes, right? Discipline is doing something that you hate, like you love it.
No, I think that motherfucker loves it. I don't think he hates any part of it.
Right. Well, but what I mean by that is, like, it can suck sometimes.
No, yeah, it does.
It can suck sometimes, dog.
Punch is not fun.
It's not. Or kicked. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
not fun. Even though we try to make it seem like it is, but it's
not, bro. It's not.
It's not.
But
you say it is, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's therapeutic though.
It is.
There's something therapeutic about getting hit and hitting people in a controlled environment.
Well, like I said earlier, you realize you're not made of glass.
Right.
It's good to know you're not made of glass.
Yeah,
it's good to know you can take a hit, and then no matter what,
contributes to your confidence for sure. Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to get hit. You don't go in there like, oh, I'm gonna get fucking hit today. No, but it's good to know that if you do get hit, you're gonna be okay. Obviously, you want to work on your head movement, get the fuck out the way. Not even just in sparring, but just in life. You want to learn how to get out of situations that are not good for you. But if it does happen, you want to know that you're gonna be okay.
That was a wonderful transition.
Yeah, because I understand not everybody knows
Yeah,
just
we,
fucking combat fighting,
we
but
gotta tie it and create the analogies. Yeah, I got
exactly,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
just in life. It's good to know that you're not fucking made of glass, emotionally, physically,
all of
whatever.
that. You,
Yeah,
it keeps going.
we're all human beings.
It keeps going.
Everybody that you see, like everybody's successful. Everybody, we're all fucking human beings.
You're gonna
If they
get
can do
punched
it, you
on.
can fucking do
Yeah,
it.
right. You're gonna get beat on in your life, but you can keep going though. It's not something that's gonna if it doesn't end you, literally, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by that. If it doesn't end you, then you gotta kind of dust yourself off and continue,
But even
doing
if
what you're
it
doing.
does, even if something does, you want to go off on your fucking shield. You don't want to go. You don't want to be that.
Right,
If
right,
if something's gonna end you, it's gonna end you.
right, right,
You're gonna go out on your shoulder, or are you gonna just let it end you?
right,
If something is for sure gonna end you, whether it be financially or emotionally, if you're gonna be or fatally, whatever it might be, if it's gonna end you, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Fate's already set up.
right,
You're gonna go out on your shield or not.
right,
This kind of shit just teaches you how to be like, all right, what kind of person am I gonna be? If you're gonna go out, however you're gonna go out, whether it be actually going out or like your life is gonna go down,
right.
are you gonna take that shit on your shield or are you gonna just be a little girl about
That's
it?
that's a good
Like
way to put
I'm
it.
not. I didn't mean that, but
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah,
you can say whatever the fuck you want, but yeah, no, I get it. I understand what you're saying, and I think it's this also helps with like the fear of fear itself,
yeah.
right? Like,
Everybody
oh
fears.
yeah, yeah, nothing.
Everybody
Well,
feels it.
there's this analogy that I always bring it up, and I've brought it up in other episodes before, but I just love it. Les Brown always gives this analogy of this little boy, right? And the little boy walks home from school every day, and when he's walking home, there's this fucking dog that chases him every day, right? And he runs from the dog because he's afraid of the dog. He don't want to get bit,
Yeah.
and he runs from the motherfucker every day, every day, every day. And so one day he's like, you know what, man, fuck this dog. Like, I'm sick of this fucking dog. And he picks up a brick and he's like, I'm gonna fucking crack this dog if he chases me today, right? So he's walking home, and sure enough, he sees the dog. And the dog starts running up to him, but he don't run this time. He turns around with the brick and he's like, fuck this dog. And he picks the brick up and he looks up at the dog, and the dog goes to bite him, and the dog has no teeth.
Oh, he's been running
He's
from a
been
fucking toothless dog
right. So he's been afraid for
for
no
no
reason.
reason.
Right. And that's to me is such a great analogy, because I mean, you want to talk about something that cripples the average person from
Yeah.
reaching their potential is fear. And that to me is something that combat sports has helped me with. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Like that's what I mean. Like it's hard to explain to people that don't do it, but to tie it into like regular life, like it's still the same shit.
right,
The little bit of shit that you learn from combat sports sometimes is like you're so scared of getting hit, you're so scared of being hurt, you're so scared of this and that. And then when you realize that it's not that bad, or once you realize that it's not gonna break you, it's like, what the fuck was I scared of? And then
yeah, that's what I mean.
you
Yeah.
implement it to your regular life, and you realize that everything kind of connects. And not everybody has combat sports. Some people have other shit. Some people have
Whatever
other
it may be,
hobbies.
whatever
Some
it may
people,
I think it's as long as it's something that challenges you
whatever. I think
physically and mentally.
whatever. Yeah, and then whatever. Like,
I think both of those aspects are important, because
well, sometimes it doesn't even. I don't think it has to be physically.
you
Sometimes
don't think so?
No, sometimes like
Because
I mean,
there's something psychological
I think
that
so. I think so.
derives from challenging your body physically.
I think maybe certain people need that extreme. Some people need that extreme where it needs to be physical.
Crazy motherfuckers like us, or what?
Yeah. But some people don't need that, you
Right.
meet like, and I mean, I've joked around all my life, like, oh, calling people soft,
Yeah.
but it's not really like a weakness. Like if you're a soft person, then fucking own it. Like if you're a soft person at heart,
Right.
then own it. And then there's still like ways that you can better your life in another way. You don't have to go out and fucking fight somebody or go to a gym and do that if that's not you. Like
Yeah. No, it's definitely not for everybody. I can tell you that. right
exactly.
now.
And then don't force it to be. If it's not, don't force it to be.
I think there's different ways to learn those lessons, or challenge
Exactly.
challenge yourself.
Like
I
if
think,
you're like, let's say like you're a bookworm, and
Yeah.
you love reading and you love, shit like that. And let's say like at your job or whatever, you're working in an office and
Yeah.
shit's going wrong for
Well,
you.
look, I'm not taking no shots, but like CrossFit people, you know what I'm saying? I'm not taking no shots. Don't laugh, dog.
Sweet Lou's favorite people.
Yeah. Don't laugh. But no, I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's hard. Like,
I'm not taking no shots. But what I mean by that is these are
but
people
okay,
who maybe
but
don't want to be in physical altercations.
before you get into it though, it's funny for us, but it doesn't mean it has to be derogatory.
No, it's
you
not.
know?
It's not.
Because
I don't
I'm
mean
not
it
gonna
that way.
say like
I don't
it's
mean
not
those.
funny.
Some of those dudes are beasts. Like I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's still funny to me.
Oh yeah, it is.
And I'm gonna
But,
laugh, but
yeah.
that's just my point of view.
It's a-
They might laugh at us. I don't fucking know.
It's
'Cause
a
we
running
clinch
joke.
and we fucking
It's
hug
a
people.
it's a running joke, and they know it. Come on,
Yeah.
like, there's no fucking way they don't know it, right? But what I mean by that is that these might be people who don't want to be in a physical altercation, that don't
Yeah.
want that that combat experience, but they're still challenging themselves in a way that's fucking crazy though. Because you ever see those competitions?
Yeah,
that shit.
it's a mental battle,
Absolutely.
Everything.
That's what I mean. That's what I meant earlier.
Whatever you find in yourself to be what helps you become a better person,
Right.
that's what you gotta fucking stick to.
Right.
If it's CrossFit, if it's fucking running marathons, if it's fucking spelling bees, whatever the fuck it might be that
Right.
you find yourself to be, this is my shit, this is what I like to do, this is how I like to challenge myself. As long as you're challenging yourself, this is what I like to challenge myself in, and there's people better than me, and I'm gonna try to be better.
Right.
And it fucks with your head, whatever fucks with your head to where like makes you feel inferior, makes you feel like I can't do it, and then you work.
Humbles you. There's a humbling aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you work and work and work and work, and then you fucking do it.
Right.
That's for you as a person. That's what makes you a better person.
So
That's what
levels
you up.
I mean, that's a fucking contribution to society, in my opinion. Like when you have people who go through those kind of experiences and understand that there's a level of humility that you gotta have, you know what I'm saying, to yourself, in order to be a good person or
better person.
A better person. There you go.
Because you're never gonna be a good.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm a fucking
you're never
good
gonna be
person.
a good person, but
Yeah.
you can always be better than you were yesterday.
Right.
And that's all that fucking matters. And then I feel like the people around you, as long as they feel like you're trying to be better, they'll always support you.
Right.
If you have somebody that's like, this motherfucker's always been like that and not trying to be any better, people start catching on. And then you have these people that are like depressed and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, well, you're not doing anything for yourself. So that's why people don't want to be around you. Like,
yeah.
It's different when you're like.
But no, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. But I'm gonna double down on what I said earlier, because I think that there is something physiologically wired in the human being that we need physical exertion. I think.
Oh no, for sure.
Without exercise, I mean, you want to talk about.
Have you ever tried? Oh no, you have. But do you notice when you don't?
Oh yeah,
you don't do it for a while.
I mean, recently, right? I got my surgery,
yeah, and that's why I meant like.
And I was going fucking crazy.
Yeah, but it's like because you're already used to it. Your body's already used to it. Fucking what's your name? Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah.
She did like an interview and she was like, I don't understand how people don't go like to training. And I wanted to word that a little bit differently, because it's like not even like it's not even MMA training. It's just training. It's just like
physical exertion.
Exactly. Yeah. To where you sweat all that shit out of your body.
Yeah.
Because like physically as a human, once you sweat everything out, wherever it might be, whatever exercise you're doing, once you sweat everything out, it literally feels like you're cleansing yourself.
Right.
Once you do it like time and time again, you feel like your body is getting rid of everything. Right. And then emotionally it does something in your head too. Like
that and if you're depressed, if you're somebody who suffers from depression or you're endorphin deprived, that's one of the best and most natural ways to get a fucking rush of endorphins.
Yeah, but it's hard to explain it to people that don't do it often,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
because it doesn't have to be like
people quit easily, you know what I mean? The moment
I've quit a couple it's not even quitting, it's just you stop a couple times.
Well, it's not even that. I think that's an aspect of it, but I think we're now at a point where we live in a society where we look for the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
You right?
It's
Everything's
just
got to be
easier.
easy. Yeah,
It's
everything's got to
easier.
be easy because if not, then fuck that. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a
But
lot
it's like,
easier to just
but you look at the people who are more successful, and it's like, oh, the motherfucker that's not scared to go through some
but
shit.
then again, like you have people like Elon Musk. You think
Right?
that motherfucker works out a day of his life?
I don't know.
I don't look at him. You think he does?
But probably not. I mean,
I
I have
don't
no
think he
idea.
does. So I mean, like it doesn't. It's not like a blueprint to life. It's
No,
not like
no,
this is
definitely.
how you should do it.
Yeah.
But it's something that works for a lot of people,
Yes.
and it works for us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be for everybody. It
And
doesn't mean like
you're
if
right.
you don't work out,
You're right.
you're
And
not going to be
no,
successful.
you're right. And I think that coincides with your experiences too.
Exactly. It's just like I said, like if it works for you, it does, and if it doesn't, it's okay. Like it doesn't have to work for everybody.
Nah.
You know,
No, yeah, I agree.
it's just one option. It's an option, and if it doesn't work out for you, then
Yeah.
cool. You know, like
Yeah.
how do we treat newcomers at the gym? You know, if
Right.
if they can take it, then cool, and if they can't, it's like it's all right.
It's all right.
It's not
Yeah.
for you, then it's all right.
It may
You know,
not be, or you just had a bad day. Come back.
yeah, come back a couple times, and if you're just, I mean, I don't want to like say any names or anything, but
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
sometimes when you look at somebody, you're like, he's not gonna come back,
Yeah.
you know, and you look at them and you're like, he's not gonna come back, like he's not. This is not what he wants to do. Doesn't mean that he's an unsuccessful person, or doesn't mean that he's unmotivated. It's just not for him.
Right.
Maybe he'll find something else to exert his energy, or maybe he'll find something else to alleviate his aggression that he has built up, because we all do have built up aggression
Yeah.
from life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's again that kind of aligns with what I was saying earlier is that we're all kind of wired that way though. Like I don't give a fuck like if you are a bookworm, you're gonna have some level of aggression pent up.
Exactly.
So you gotta get that,
But
you
what
gotta
if
release that.
what if like they get their aggression off by like going to like fucking places like debates and shit like that, and they win the debate and shit like
that
that,
works.
and that adrenaline kicks, and they're fucking there and they
If
win.
that works for you, that works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't relate, but I can
Yeah, right,
understand
right.
how that would actually
Absolutely.
work for
Yeah, yeah.
somebody, you
I
know?
get that. I get that.
They get that same adrenaline we
That
do.
and that level of accomplishment, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing something to challenge yourself and it's something that you love.
To
It
grow.
has to be something that you love.
Right.
Because I don't remember where I saw it, but like a human being needs, a source of income, obviously like a career,
Right.
a source of love, which is like your
Mm-hmm.
family, and then a source of like some kind of hobby that you love. Those three things can make a human being better. So
Yeah.
you have to have like obviously like a source of income. Sometimes people love what they do. I mean, fortunately, I love what I do, so I
I think there's a Pavlov's hierarchy or something like that.
something like that.
7 elements that the
Yeah,
human
so
being needs
that's
to-
why it
yeah.
correlated with me, because
I could be wrong, but I think I'm
something like that. It's
Yeah.
like everybody has three things. It's like, or every
Maslow, something like that. I don't know.
like
Yeah.
every like not happy, because that's not, I don't think that's even the right word, because you're never gonna
Fulfilled.
be fulfilled. There you go.
Yeah.
Person has three things. It has to be a source of income, so you're financially stable,
Right.
and then you have to have some kind of fulfillment of love, because
Yeah.
as human
Right.
beings we
You
need
that.
love.
Yeah.
So you have to have your family squared away, your work squared away, but
Mhm.
then you also need a hobby, and that's where you can pick, like
Yeah.
what your hobby is, and you have to find what your hobby is,
Yeah.
and love it, and that's where you spend your free time. So if you don't love your hobby, or if you're trying to force yourself to be something you're not, and that's your hobby, like that, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It has to be something
Yeah.
that you love to do, even though it's like you said earlier, your hobby doesn't mean it's good all the time. It's gonna suck.
Yeah. Definitely.
It sucks a lot of the time. Some people, like I follow some people on Instagram, and they're like gym rats, and they
Yeah.
like body lift and shit like that. And it's like, yeah, this shit sucks maybe 3-4 days out of the week. But at the end of the day, like you feel better about yourself
That
because
level
you
of
went.
accomplishment that you have is
And that's,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's not gonna be like
It's
fun all the time.
It's hard to explain, but like there's days where I've gone in there and I've got fucked up. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to the people. You know what I mean? I've gone in there and I've got fucked up, but I leave there and I feel like, man, I feel good. I'm like,
You just feel happier that you went, other than like how how you would have felt if you didn't go.
Yeah.
Even though in the moment you might not fucking like it and it fucking sucks. But when you go home, you feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree
So
with
I think that's what counts. And then the next day you're like, all right, I feel good because I went yesterday. Even if you don't go the day after, or if you take 2 days off, 3 days off, life is life. And
Yeah, one good day turns into a month.
even if it's a
You know?
shitty day, like
Yeah.
you have one
No, that's
shitty day,
true.
but
Yeah.
you fucking went. You showed up,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You left it all out there too.
And you showed up. You Nobody forced you.
Right.
That's your hobby. You showed up.
Right.
You chose to be there.
Again.
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what you chose to do, and maybe you can't go because of work or family or whatever it might be, health issues. You don't go for another week, but that day you fucking went. You
Yeah.
made the choice to
Yeah.
show up. You whatever it might be, to the gym, to a fucking competition, to wherever the fuck you go.
I mean, you can, if you can align that to a life lesson in every aspect, I mean, that's fucking right. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, everybody takes shit how they want to.
Well, that's
I
true
don't.
too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being, I'm digging too deep, but
No,
just
it's just we're applying it to how we see life.
that's our perspectives,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Because some people are surface level. Like,
And
they
maybe,
just want to go.
or maybe
They
I'm
just want to
just,
go fight, and
I
then
don't
that's
even
it.
know if I'm trying
I
to
don't know.
convince somebody else, or if I'm trying to convince myself sometimes, you know? Like, like maybe I'm just trying to convince
Oh,
myself.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that
I'm trying to
because that's
convince
true.
myself that this is good for me,
That's true.
because I'm like, yeah, nobody's forcing me, but maybe I'm forcing myself because I'm like, I've invested so much time
I'm
into
fucking
this.
talking myself into this.
Yeah, I've invested so much time into this.
It's a great perspective.
I've told myself that I love Muay Thai. I've told myself that I love the gym. So sometimes, like, you have to think about it, like, do I really love this time there?
Yeah.
And you take time off, and then you come back, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, this is for me. This is me.
Yeah.
It's not even for me.
I think sometimes it's important to miss it a little too. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, they say that about relationships too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a cliche, but it's like,
Nah, no.
it's like, if you are,
Well, you gotta understand though, people, or human beings, monotony is not good for us. Monotony, which meaning doing the same
yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah.
over and over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not good for you. There is that aspect of having to miss it a little bit. So I think you're right. I think it does tie into relationships for sure.
It does. I remember my dad when I was younger. He used to tell me, he's like, pretty much like, make yourself be missed, and I wouldn't understand that. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean by that? And it's like, make yourself be missed. Like, if somebody doesn't miss you, then they don't truly love you,
Damn, your dad was hitting you with them gems?
bro. He's been hitting me with gems my whole life. I just didn't listen. So that's what I mean. Like, it's just like, if you're not missed by somebody, then they don't truly appreciate you.
Right.
And you can apply that to a couple other things, like if you feel like, like you're forcing yourself to go somewhere, or that's not for you. And sometimes you don't choose, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to stop going to the gym for 3 days and see if I miss it. No, that's not how life works. Life works, I have to work for a week or 2 weeks straight
Right.
past the time that we go to training. So I'm forced to miss it.
Circumstances, right,
Exactly.
that keep you from being in those
I'm
situations.
forced to miss it.
Right.
And now, like, naturally as a human, you start to miss it, And that's where like that comes down to. Like, it's just like you start to miss it, and it's natural missing. It's not like you're forcing yourself to miss
Right.
it, Like, I'm gonna stop going for 3 days
Yeah,
and
yeah,
see,
yeah.
and
No,
see if I
you're
miss it.
you're being a lazy piece of shit at that point,
Exactly,
right? You're
yeah.
making excuses. No, I get it.
Exactly.
Life is life. You're gonna have life circumstances that are gonna keep you from a lot of things, right? Whether it's work, your family, whatever the case may be. But I guess it all ties into each other, right?
And then the older you get, you start to realize life is life a lot, and then you start to realize, what the fuck do I want to spend my time doing? You have to be a lot more picky about what you spend your time doing. So if you're spending your time that 1 hour at the gym, you're choosing to do that, and that's an hour you can be.
Absolutely.
I mean, the older you get, the older I'm getting, I'm realizing that rest is fucking important.
Yeah, no shit.
I didn't fucking realize that when I was younger. So now I'm like, I can either go to sleep for this hour, or I can train for an hour. But I'm choosing to go train, even though I'm losing sleep,
right.
which is essential now. And you're not.
But that's, to me, that ties into discipline 100%. There's no fucking way. Like, if you're weighing out,
No, because
you don't think so?
Let
If
me
you're
tell you
weighing
this.
out your rest versus
Let me tell you this.
going to do something that's in your mind at that moment.
But let me tell you this. You can mind fuck yourself into thinking that not going to the gym is discipline. Because
How
because
do you
that's
figure?
because this 1 hour I'm getting a rest, I'm gonna be a better worker tomorrow. I'm disciplining myself to rest so I could be
Self-care.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm because you can't be. I have to work at 4 a.m. tomorrow.
Self-care right now
So you
is
can mind fuck yourself into thinking you're
self
disciplining when you're actually being lazy.
self-care is a fucking gray area right now in our society. It is.
Self-care is a touchy subject.
Yeah, I won't even dig into it, but
'Cause everybody has a
because
different.
everybody's healthy.
Everybody's unhealthy.
That's what I'm saying.
But everybody has different ways of
You
dealing
can't
with
be
it.
both, right? So it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know.
So
That's a
yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
because I've caught myself sometimes. I'm like,
Your-
well, if I don't go today, then I'll have an extra hour of sleep, and then I'm gonna
Right.
be more active tomorrow at work.
right,
And I'm gonna be more productive. So I'm being disciplined as a worker.
yeah,
But
right. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm like,
Yeah.
and if I'm more tired, then I'm not gonna be as active tomorrow.
Right.
Even though I know damn well when I go to sleep
right.
after
right,
training,
right.
I sleep fucking way better
Right.
than I did.
Again, you
before.
get that endorphin dump. You know what I'm saying?
You have
get
to
all that,
mentally
yeah.
fucking force yourself to be like,
Yeah.
no, you're wrong. It's those little voices in your head that's it's always trying to tell you that like something else is right. You know, like trying to like,
Well, you're trying to you talk yourself out of it, right?
or you're trying to talk yourself into
Yeah, both
yeah,
at the same time.
exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, sometimes sometimes thinking too much can be bad for everybody, you know. You don't want to think, you don't want to not think about things because yeah, obviously like some days like I'll get home and it's like 7:30, 7:40,
Yeah.
and I'm beat the fuck up and I'm like, today is not smart for me to go to training because I am gonna be more tired tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, like you can feel your body,
Yeah.
listen to your
Listen
body,
to it, right?
listen to your body. But if your body,
Everybody's telling me right now,
yeah, but
I need another beer. Can you have me one of those real quick?
sometimes
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, though.
sometimes you're just lazy though. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's still a little voice in the back that's just like you're just being lazy. Sometimes we choose to ignore it.
We justify it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
And we
choose to
justify
ignore it because it's just like, all right, like, yeah, I will be better tomorrow, but at the end of the day, like I still got energy and I could go to the gym.
Right.
But I'm gonna choose not to, and I'm gonna self-care and
Right.
and be better tomorrow. And that's cool every now and then.
No, it is.
I'm not going against it.
No, it's
But when you're
necessary.
doing it every day.
It's
like,
necessary, but you're doing it 4 out of the 7 days a week. It's not
yeah.
good. No, there's a trend there.
Like yesterday I got home at 7:30, but I didn't feel bad. Like I felt good.
Yeah.
So I literally got home, took off my fucking work gear and put on my fucking Muay Thai gear and fucking went in and out straight to the gym
Yeah.
to sparring on Friday, which is like not when this is when like the people actually go, you know, like the better people.
Yeah.
So you're not going in like expecting little light sparring.
Yeah.
Like you know what the fuck you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. You're gonna go.
You know?
You're gonna go get that work for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And then when like you've already established yourself as whatever the fuck you've established yourself at your gym, like people don't expect you to go like
Half-ass.
yeah, exactly. So it's not like you're gonna go in there and be like, obviously we're not promoting like hard sparring. That's not what we're doing. It's just like a certain level of sparring
Mm-hmm.
to where like if you hit me clean in the head,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, he wasn't expecting it. I should have been fucking expecting it.
Right.
know?
You can't be upset about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not like, but you as a person, you have to show up and be like, I know what I'm signing myself up for.
You gotta turn it on.
Exactly.
You gotta turn it.
And if you're mentally making that decision to show up, you know what the fuck you're signing up
and
for.
I can't think of anything that we've brought up about this or brought up about the entire combat sport thing that we can't tie into life again.
Well, that's what I was gonna.
It's
I was about to say. So if you've already set yourself a standard of being who you are, let's say at work, and then someday you show up half-ass, people are still gonna expect that fucking.
No, yeah,
that
right.
fucking person.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
like for me, some days if you show up hungover, let's say this is a
Yeah,
good example.
right.
You show up hungover, and people expect that high caliber fucking work,
Yeah.
you know. And I have gone my whole life showing up to work. If I do, the odd chances I show up hungover, I know I still have to bring that fucking high
A game,
caliber
baby.
work
A game.
because that's what they expect from me. Because
Show up.
that's the limit I've set for myself.
Right.
And I'll be damned if I bring that
Well, it
limit
speaks
down.
to your character, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
go ahead.
I'll work myself and then go home exhausted, and then I have no one else to blame but myself. I
Right.
got myself
Yeah,
hungover.
yeah, yeah. You
So
put yourself in that situation.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
But I'm gonna show that fucking high caliber
Yeah.
work experience because that's where my bar
Well,
is set.
one, you demand that from yourself.
Exactly.
Two,
Because I'm
people-
not going down.
Two, people demand it from you.
Exactly.
Because that's the character they expect from you, the caliber they expect.
But that's what I'm saying. That goes through every aspect
Everything.
of life. Yeah. Whatever you do,
Everything.
whether it be work or whether it's like
Everything.
fatherhood, if
All that.
you come home tired, your son doesn't fucking care.
He don't give a fuck. He don't know what you're going
Son
through. You know what I
or
mean?
daughter, they
Right,
don't
right.
fucking care, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like you're expected to be dad and you've set that standard and you wanted to be a good dad because you have to want to be a good
Absolutely.
dad. You know, it's a fucking everyday chore to be not chore because it's an everyday job
Right.
to be a good dad. It's not just like, oh, I
It's
was
your
a good,
responsibility.
yeah,
Right.
I was a good dad that day and I don't have to be. No, you have to do that shit day in and day out. If you're
Yeah.
tired, they don't give a fuck. You have to
They
show up.
don't.
Yeah, you have to show up and
Mhm.
be that good dad. And then
Now, don't get me wrong. There's good days and bad days.
yeah.
There's good days and bad days, right?
But there's always that bar. It's just like that's where I have to be.
right.
You're not always gonna meet it.
Well, that's who they expect you to be. Period.
Is it who they expect you to be or who you expect yourself to be?
Oh, that too, right? Yeah.
Because you have to want to be
It's got to tie in.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to want to be
I
that
agree.
good dad
Yeah, yeah.
for them. They don't know no better.
Right.
If you're a shitty dad, they don't have another dad. They can't compare you to somebody
Right.
else. If you're a shitty dad, that's all the dad they know. You have to set that bar.
Absolutely.
And then that
I
bar is
agree.
that bar is there, and then you have to try to meet that bar. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do.
Every fucking day.
And you don't even know.
Every day.
Sometimes you feel shitty. My son surprises me sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough, and he surprises me.
I think every dad feels
exactly.
that way. Yeah.
So they surprise you sometimes, and it's just like, oh, comes up to me, hugs me like I love you so much, and I'm like, I am so exhausted. I didn't do shit for you today.
Feel like I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of secure you enough.
They're like, don't trip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, they don't know no better. You're their only father. You know, they have nothing else to compare to.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying earlier too. It's
well, like, even if they did though, I mean, it's you're their father. There's a level of ownership, right? When it comes to your parents, like, and we don't get to pick our parents.
No.
Right? But there's a level of ownership that there's every level of ownership because that's all you got, really.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
Because
but it's like you said earlier, it's a level of taking responsibility. You can half-ass it.
Oh,
This is not a job. You're not gonna get evaluated.
There's a lot of people.
You're not gonna get paid. You're not like you can fucking do the bare minimum and no one will say shit.
That's true.
It's up to you.
I mean, it happens every day.
But me and you are grown men now, and we know the importance of what advice people gave to you or what you've seen in your life and stuff like that. So do you want to be better than that, or do you want to keep it the same, or do you want to do less, or it's up to you.
Right.
Do you want to be better than what was taught to you?
Be a better person tomorrow than I was today,
minimum,
right?
Or, I mean, I don't know. Lately, I think the last couple of years, I've just been judging people or judging my friendships off of how they treat their kids.
Yeah, that's a fucking. I would say if you're gonna judge anybody, that would be a good fucking
place to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't learn that until you have kids.
Show me how you treat your kids, and it's gonna show me how you're gonna treat me, or you know what I mean, the people around you, for sure.
Well, I mean, if that's the person that you love most in your life, or I think that's for
or
me.
You should.
For me, that's who I love most in my life.
Right.
So if you don't treat the person that you love or you should love most in your life correctly, then how are you going to treat everybody else?
Right.
You know, like, I don't know, like that opened up my mind to a lot of things. When I was younger, I have friends that have kids, and they're great people, but they're not great parents.
Yeah.
To me now, I cut off ties with people,
Yeah.
and I still love those people
Right.
for me because they treat me good.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I want to hang out with them
Yeah.
because I can't trust you.
What does that derive from? Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. No, I
I
understand.
would never put nobody against or above my son.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this relationship between me, you and I became what it is today.
Right.
Because not only are you a good person to everybody around you, you're a great fucking father.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's, to me, honestly, I could give a fuck how you treat me.
Right.
You're a great father to your kids. So for me, when I see you being like that,
It speaks to your character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good man.
Right.
Now we want to talk about like what a good man is in this society.
Right.
There's one thing
It's a different context.
social media can't teach you. You can't
Oh, yeah.
hide from social media, or you can't fake on social media. You
Yeah.
can't fake in the streets. You can't fake being a good father, because that kid is either gonna grow up to be fucked up or he's not.
Straight up. Yeah.
You can't fake that
Yeah.
shit.
And
And
I
you
think-
can't fake how people perceive you as well. You
Yeah.
can try
Yeah.
to act like you're a good person on social
And
media.
I think people fail to see the fact that, you know, that's another giant contribution that you're making into society too.
Because that's who's gonna
those kids are gonna become adults,
and they're gonna raise kids.
They're gonna make more pieces of shit. You know what I mean? And I hate to put it that way, but it's the truth. Like, you're gonna make more pieces of shit.
It's not even that. It's just like, yeah, but what I'm concerned with is like, who am I surrounding myself with?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Who am I like potentially bringing my son around? And if you don't treat your kids how I would treat my kids, then I don't want those people around me. You know?
Yeah, I'm definitely at an age right now where I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Every person around me is carefully handpicked.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like even today when I walked up, I mess with your kids.
Right.
You know, like I fuck with them because there's that like sense of like comfortability.
Yeah.
You know? They're comfortable around me because of that barrier that's been broken around you being a good father, and they're used to seeing people like me. You know, they're not like weirded out or anything like that when I fuck with them.
Yeah.
You know, like Aaron was at the door.
He has a sense of humor. Yeah.
It's not even a sense of humor. It's just like a sense of like this person.
Trust.
Yes. Yeah. My dad trusts this guy, so I trust this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my dad's a stand-up guy, so whoever he trusts, I like. Like you can tell also how somebody's parenting is by the way that their kids trust other people.
That's true.
Because he trusts me because you trust me, but you trust me because I'm a good person.
Right.
Or I try to be.
We're
similar.
Yeah.
And we have the same morals. So when it comes down to like, this is how I would want to treat people to treat my son as well.
Yeah.
And it's all fucking.
It's all tied in.
Exactly.
It's all tied in. Definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and again, I mean, I feel like we're talking full circle, but it just.
Well, that's how it should be.
It's exactly. Yeah. It's just the way it's wired. You know what I mean? They're gonna take away what you know, those seeds you plant. Have you
ever seen the series on it's on Netflix now, but I don't know what it was on before, but it's called Vikings. And it's like about Vikings and like whenever the fuck the Vikings
Nah.
There's this guy named Ragnar. He's like the main Viking in the series, and he's like a famous Viking in like history,
like mythical lore. Or
yeah. But it starts off as him being just a fucking farmer. He's nobody. He's nothing. You know, and he just hasn't been like the whole like first couple seasons. Like the main word is ambition. He's an ambitious man. Like that's all he is. He's an ambitious man. He always wants more and more and more. And there's negative ambition and there's positive ambition. You know,
absolutely.
And he's always like, yeah, I'm like just an ambitious man. He becomes over time the king of his little fucking section or whatever. And becomes, you know, great Viking. Or,
yeah.
You know, but nobody really, over time, remembers him. They remember his kids. His kids become 10 times more popular than him.
Right, and that's the goal, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when he gets old, and you see in the series, like in his old age, he's always like, oh, there's some kids that are pieces of shit, and there's some kids that are kind of more like him.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's like, where did that line get drawn? You know, like where it's like,
And I think I've never even watched the series, but I mean, you make a really, really good point in that what he did, nobody remembered his name, right? But he was ambitious, but he was ambitious enough and had the wherewithal to pass that ambition down to his kids
yeah, but
and make them great,
what I'm trying to say is like his whole point was like he wanted his kids to be greater than him, but at
right?
some point he lost. Some kids aren't. So for you, my question would be, because I only have one son,
Right.
you have multiple.
Yeah.
How do you think would be the how do you balance the knowledge you bring down to your kids?
I think you
Do you like kind of try to like
you have to understand who they are individually
so
first.
so
So
yeah, so like some kids aren't gonna understand you, or
no, no,
that's what I mean. Like,
no. Some not, but
but at the end of the day, like when
they won't understand you, but you have to find common
I
ground.
feel like when he passed away in the series, at least whatever the fucking story is,
Yeah.
he was still proud of all his
Yeah,
sons, no
and you
matter
will
what,
be.
no matter if some of them were successful and they weren't, but he still tried to like pass down whatever the
Yeah,
fuck
and
and some of them got it and some of them didn't. And as a father, like I only have one, so I like right now I only have, let's
right.
say, one shot, you know, and I'm gonna try my best. And you have multiple.
Yeah.
How do you disperse your
So
morality?
I think the first of all, you have to find common ground, regardless, because everybody's different. As human beings,
Yeah,
individuals, your kids are going to be their own person. You want them to be just like you, but they're not. They're never going to
no,
be,
none of
right?
them
They're
are.
never going to be.
And sometimes it happens, you know. Like I'm my dad's only son,
Hmm.
and I am too much like him, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
there's some shit he tells me straight up, like I'll drink with my dad and
Yeah. Yeah.
bullshit,
Yeah.
and he's like, there's some characteristics of me
Yeah. There's
that I
traits.
wish that you didn't have,
There's
but you
traits.
do, you know.
Well, you're going to carry traits, but even then, you're your own person. You're an individual,
Yeah,
right?
but my question to you is, having multiple, there's
Yeah.
no way that all of them are gonna be
No,
like
no,
you.
they
So
can't
how do
be.
you
So
deal
that's what I
with?
mean. So it's like you find common ground, right? So it doesn't matter. Like you gotta obviously try to understand. There's people who don't know their kids, and you're never gonna entirely know your kids,
No,
right? But there's people who don't know them at all. So you have to try to understand a little bit at least of who they are and what they like, and then you can start to tie in who you are and what you know into what they like and who they are, if that makes sense.
it
So you
does.
find common ground and then you try to tie in those same values and those same morals into what they like and what they know.
Well, like how we were talking about earlier, it's like just because we do combat sports doesn't mean
Yeah,
that.
not at all, right?
But you have to take away what does combat sports do for you,
That's it.
and then try to like
Period.
correlate that towards whatever they do
Yeah.
goes for them. Yeah. So I guess to end it off, like for me, man to man would be to ask you the question, because I mean, obviously I only have one son, but eventually if I did have more,
Right.
and me respecting you as a father, I would want to ask you, how do you effectively like disperse your, not, I guess it's your love, or your, not even your love, because you know you love them, but how do you make all your kids feel loved? You feel me?
I think it's finding common ground.
Yeah.
Finding common ground, understanding who they are individually, because no two people are the same,
Yeah.
ever. Ever. It doesn't matter who you are. So you gotta understand who they are as a person, or on some level, understand who they are. 'Cause that's tough to
Yeah,
do.
but I mean, so you're talking about like already like a developed kid,
No, not even.
but
No, I'm talking about a
since
child,
they're
a small
little,
child. Absolutely. You,
because you have older kids, and
yeah,
like, I
but
mean, not to gas you up, but like all your kids love you, you know,
yeah,
and that's in our society kind of hard to get that love from kids. You know, kids
right.
don't fucking tell the truth. Like they don't tell lies. I mean,
Yeah,
they tell the truth,
yeah,
and it's easy to do the right thing for the first one. You gotta do it again and again and
yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
and it's just like, how do you think you manage that?
Again, I think it's
Since they were kids, you just,
well, one, you just love them no matter what, unconditionally, regardless. Don't matter. You gotta love them unconditionally.
But
But then
how do you what I want to ask you is how do you transfer that love that you know you feel to make sure that they feel it? Or how do you think
you
you did?
communicate it one way or another. Again, so you try to understand who they are as an individual and what they like, and you tie in those life lessons, that integrity, that morality, and the love, and then you just kind of you pour into who they are as a person.
Do you think that first kid helps you a lot into like
Oh fucking! If it wasn't for him, I don't know where the fuck I'd be.
I just met your first
Yeah,
kid
yeah, yeah,
today,
yeah.
so
So
like
if it wasn't for him, I don't know where the fuck I'd be.
but like
Actually,
you can tell you walk into somebody's house, you can tell like it's in the eyes, you know, you can tell when somebody
yeah,
looks at somebody like how much they appreciate and love them, you know. So I walk into your house and I just feel like everybody is loved, you know,
yeah.
and everybody looks at you with love. And that's something
I appreciate that. Thank
yeah.
you.
So
Yeah, yeah,
that's why I like coming to your house and coming over. Like I like being invited because it's a place of love, you know,
yeah,
like it's a place
yeah.
of everybody appreciates everybody. You know, like when we came and like with your sister and everybody, yeah, we're talking shit, it's banter and we're drinking and
Right, right.
you know, we're talking shit, but it comes from a place of love.
Yeah. I mean,
Which is something that like it's big for me and it's important for me to like that's the people I want to keep around at all times. And for me, I guess at this point in my life, the most important thing to me is being a good father. So that's why I asked that question. But overall, it's just I appreciate you and bringing me into your
appreciate it.
home
Thank you. Of
time and
course.
time
Yeah,
again and
yeah.
you know like just
Well, appreciate you coming on too,
yeah, well, I mean, I came on because of all that stuff,
and
you
leaving
know?
it on the table and being. I think these conversations are important. I don't think they're conversations that are had on a daily basis. That's for fucking sure,
Yeah.
right? That's for
Well, that's
sure.
another thing too. Like people need socialization. You know, like you need to
Yeah,
socialize with people.
and you need to hear it from motherfuckers that are like you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
it's again, it's not a common occurrence. That shit don't happen every
Everybody
day.
feels shit, but nobody says nothing.
Right, right, right. It's a man thing, dog.
It's
You
not even
know?
a man thing because like when you like right now you start talking, it's not like you're scared to say nothing.
Nah.
It's just like if the conversation doesn't come up, I'm not gonna bring it up.
Right,
Like whatever,
right,
you know,
right, right.
like.
Yeah,
But it's something that you see, you know, like it's something
absolutely.
sometimes like people click for a certain
Who,
reason
who, right? Yeah,
and you don't talk about why you click, you know?
right, right,
It's like, you know, like you see why you want to keep certain people in your circle, but you don't tell that person.
right.
Do you think that's like something we're missing too in society? Like people don't tell other people like you're doing a good job?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, you're talking about something that's been happening for centuries, right? It
I
kind of
don't think so. I think social media kind of hides it a
no,
lot now.
I think that's been happening for years because you look at even our culture. Our culture it derives from the
People not talking.
at all. Because you don't communicate that shit because it made you weak, it made you soft, and it's just it's but what people don't understand is that's indirectly a way that they prepared you for life because they wanted you to know to understand that other people don't give a fuck about what you're going through. They don't give a fuck about if you're sad or not. Or let me rephrase that. Most people don't give a
No,
fuck,
I
right?
think I think you're right. I think people really don't give a fuck.
Better you than me,
No, I don't
you
think it's
know?
better you than me. It's more like I'm feeling the same shit. So what? How are you?
Yeah.
How
So
is your
don't give
sadness
a
worse?
fuck,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly. But it's more like I think it's important to appreciate not the sadness. Like, yeah, I mean,
Right.
I might not give a fuck about people's sadness, but I think it's important to highlight people's good qualities. You know,
No, yeah, yeah.
and I
It's
don't think we
important.
do that enough as people. You know,
You know,
tell your homies what they're doing fucking correctly. Well, like,
yeah.
why are you glorifying all these other shit, but you don't tell them what they're doing
Right.
correctly? Tell them what they're actually doing in life that's actually helping you.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
wish I had some like I told you, like I lost my friend, and there's so many good things that he taught me that
Yeah.
I never fucking told the motherfucker. You know,
Right.
when I was young, so like I'll never be able to tell him. So now I don't
You don't
skip a beat
you
to
don't hold
tell
back.
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, to tell somebody what I learned from them. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
if you're a good person, like I'm here for a reason, and I'm your friend for a reason because I've already learned to lose people that
I
you know
value you. I value your relationship.
exactly.
Yeah, I got you. And that's a really important point. And I think everybody should be able to communicate on that level. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's easy, but because it's not. But
Ain't shit easy.
it ain't. It ain't. And on that note, we're gonna end this by saying, tell people how you feel. Make sure that you the people around you feel loved, because you never know, right? Just
Challenge
like your
yourself.
point.
Do something
Challenge
fucking
yourself.
hard.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
you like to do it. Fucking
Do it right.
But yeah.
Pour yourself into it. This is MFK Radio Music, Focus, Knowledge, the ingredients to a better day. We out.